Okay, I'm going to work on simplifying expressions. This is in page 104 in your book. When we have a number in front of parentheses and there's nothing that we can do in the parentheses, for instance, x and y are different variables, so they're not like terms, so I can't do 3x minus 6y. So when I have that 6 touching parentheses, that represents multiplication. So I'm going to multiply to both terms. So 6 times 3x is 18x. Minus 6 times 6, or that's a negative, however you want to think about that. 6 times negative 6 is negative 36y. And then again, I can't combine x and y, so this is my final answer. Okay, again, 2a minus 4b, not like terms, so I'm going to distribute that negative 3 to both terms. Negative 3 times 2a is negative 6a. Negative 3 times negative 4b is positive 12b. And we're done. A negative in front of parentheses, that's really a negative 1 right there, so if it helps you, we could put a 1 there. And that's being distributed to both terms. It just changes the sign of what's inside. So the negative 3y becomes positive because negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3y. Negative 1 times positive x is negative x. Okay, in page 109, things get a little bit more tricky here with our combining like terms. They're a little bit longer. So anything that's like terms, like 6x is the same variable as negative 11x. Notice the minus is actually a negative. It's the same thing. So I'm going to combine those first. Those are like terms. So 6x and negative x, when we add those, they're different signs. So I get 5. We subtract, we get 5. And we keep the sign of the bigger number, negative. This is all coming from the live chat where I was talking about adding and subtracting negatives. Okay, and then so we have negative 5y and negative 3y. Those are like terms now. Those are same signs. Same signs, we add them, so we get 8, and we keep the sign. So negative 8y. And here 7 and negative 5. Those are different signs. So we subtract, we get 2, and we keep the sign of the bigger number. So when 7's bigger, we keep the plus positive. And we're done with that. Okay, 36 is actually a little bit harder than what we would need for this class, so I'm going to just skip that for now and go to 37. So, can't do what's in the parentheses. They're not like terms. Same thing over here. So I'm going to distribute the 6 to the c and the negative 2d squared. And then I'm going to do the negative 2, multiply to those two terms. So 6 times c is 6c. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12, and we put back the d squared. Now negative 2 times 4c is negative 8c, and negative 2 times negative d squared is positive 2d squared. Negative times a negative is a positive. So that's where I got that from. Okay, now combine like terms. We have a 6c and a negative 8c. Those are different signs, so I'm going to subtract them to get 2. Keep the sign of the bigger number, negative, and we keep that variable, negative 2c. Okay, now negative 12 d squared plus 2d squared, those are different signs, so I'm going to subtract them to get 10. Keep the d squared, and we keep the sign of the bigger number, so 12 is bigger, so we keep the negative. And that's our final answer.